Good afternoon in Missouri. I'm Jordan Berger, and you're watching KOMU 8 News at noon. President Trump says he might veto a $1.3 trillion spending bill Congress passed early this morning to prevent a government shutdown. He tweeted just a few hours ago saying, "I am considering a veto of the omnibus spending bill passed on the fact that the 800,000-plus DACA recipients have been totally abandoned by the Democrats, not even mentioned in the bill, and the border wall, which is desperately needed for our national defense, is not fully funded." Government funding is set to expire at 11 tonight. The president's signature on the bill would prevent what could have been the third government shutdown this year. This bill would fund the government through October. The spending bill passed this morning includes a compromise on border security. It provides $1.6 billion for repairs to existing fencing and technology. But the legislation also says that none of it will be the prototype designs President Trump has inspected so far. The White House had been pushing for $25 billion during a 3-year period. Up to 500,000 people are expected to flood the nation's capital tomorrow for the March for Our Lives rally. It's an anti-gun violence rally organized by students impacted by the Parkland shooting and endorsed by a growing number of celebrities. NBC's Carrie Sanders has the latest details.
This morning, as many as 500,000 teenagers preparing to march against gun violence in Washington, D.C. And tens of thousands more will also raise their voices Saturday at similar protests across the country and even around the world.
I've never felt so empowered before.
I'm changing the world.
For the kids from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, the trip to the nation's capital, a mission.
Ready to do this. I'm ready to be with all these people, and I'm ready to protest.
And the message is?
That this won't happen ever again. We're going to be the last one.
After a gunman came on their Parkland, Florida campus on Valentine's Day, killing 17. What started as yet another school shooting tragedy sparked a movement.
We call BS!
First in Florida, then across the nation.
What are your expectations?
That they will listen to us just because we're kids, that they'll listen to us and give us a voice, and they'll hear us out because we're smart kids, and that we want to use our knowledge to really make a change.
The Florida students in Washington expected to be joined by kids from just about every state.
I just want to say I stand behind you guys.
And they're getting support from celebrities, too, including Jimmy Fallon, Miley Cyrus, George Clooney, and Oprah. 20 kids in vans from Louisville, Kentucky are making the trip to D.C. today, in part to honor 2 students killed during a Marshall County high school shooting in January.
Just seeing how many school shootings there have been, I could be a victim of this.
Thursday evening, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, herself the victim of gun violence 7 years ago, meeting some of the student protesters. More than 800 marches are planned for Saturday, from Bismarck to Salt Lake City, Memphis to Springfield, Virginia, and everywhere in between. Children now taking on a very adult topic, politics, and hoping they can teach the grown-ups a lesson.
The march is just the beginning until we get politicians to do what we want and to do what's right.
Today, students from Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, joined members of Congress and Mark Kelly, husband of mass shooting victim former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, for a rally in Washington, D.C. to talk about gun violence and tomorrow's March for Our Lives. A local high school student is battling more than just the books as she pushes for change. She and other students at Rockbridge are getting ready for their version for March of Our Lives in Missouri. Students wanted to organize the march to advocate for gun control in Missouri. One student says this march has helped her get more involved with politics about guns. She says this issue is important to her and she wants everyone's voice to be heard.
No matter what your political affiliations are, you probably want safer schools and a safer community, and whether that means more mental health regulation or background checks or restricting gun access, whatever it is, everyone has a voice in this movement.
The march will be from 1 to 3 p.m. at Francis Quadrangle on MU's campus. The Southern Boone County School District is updating its budget and considering adding another school resource officer. The district has already locked doors and cameras and a resource officer, plus Ashland police make daily stops. Even with the security, though, the superintendent wants a second school officer.
They're 2 different professions, they're 2 different trainings, and in this situation, I feel like it's best that law enforcement have that role.
Family said a second SRO would work in both the elementary and the middle schools. The current officer patrols the high schools. Here is a look at some of the mid-Missouri school districts who have school resource officers. Some districts have multiple school resource officers and others may only have one. KOMU 8 has talked with other districts who plan to have some next year. The 16-year-old girl shot at her high school in Maryland on Tuesday has passed away. Jalen Willie's parents announced last night their daughter was brain dead and they were taking her off of life support. The St. Mary's Sheriff's Office says she was surrounded by family in her last moments. Investigators say she had a prior relationship with the gunman. 17-year-old Austin Rollins was killed in a gunfire exchange with Great Mills High School resource officer. A 14-year-old boy who was shot in the leg was released from the hospital on Wednesday. Police in Elgin, Illinois have released officer body video camera video of a fatal shooting earlier this month against the wishes of Illinois State Police. 34-year-old DeCynthia Clemens was shot and killed during a traffic stop on March 12th. Police say the officer fired at Clemens after a 2-hour standoff after she refused to stop her car for a patrol officer. Officers say they saw her with a knife and drugs and tried to talk her out of the car. While Clemens was pinned in by police vehicles, her vehicle caught on fire. Investigators say Clemens started the fire and was suicidal. The video shows the 3 shots fired at Clemens after she staggers from the burning car with a knife in each hand.
Met with many of you, met with the family, met with friends, met with clergy. We've met with as many people as we can. We are trying to lead the way in what a transparent police department looks like.
Like murder. Watch that video. She fell out that car and they started shooting her.
An investigation into that incident is still ongoing. 2 Pennsylvania firefighters were killed and 2 others were injured at an old piano and organ factory that partially collapsed after a fire. The blaze broke out Wednesday evening as a team was still looking for hotspots and investigating the cause of the fire. Part of the 4-story structure collapsed. The firefighters were rushed to the hospital where 2 were pronounced dead. Another 2 are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The factory where the fire took place was being converted into residential units. A New York City firefighter was killed while fighting a 5-alarm fire in an apartment building. Michael Davidson, a 15-year veteran of the department, was seriously injured while fighting the massive blaze. He was rushed to the hospital where he later died. The flames quickly spread through the building and onto a movie set that was there. The fire was brought under control by early this morning. A fuel tanker overturned on a busy interstate in South Florida this morning, causing some traffic troubles. At least 3 southbound lanes were shut down due to the accident involving hazardous materials. Crews on the scene say hundreds of gallons of fuel have leaked onto the ground. No word yet on what caused the accident or the condition of the driver there. Let's get a check of what you can expect for your weekend as far as weather goes. Tim is here with us. So what can folks expect?
Well, a lot of rain and a lot of cloudy skies. It is typical March spring weather that we're getting right now, where we get all the rain and eventually it's going to help a lot of the flowers keep blooming, the trees get their little buds on them too. It's going to be fairly pretty by maybe Easter weekend, but at least up until now, right now, we have a lot of rain trying to work through the state. Live Doppler 8 First Alert Radar, a couple of light showers here in parts of central Missouri, and a couple also starting to work their way and develop out over parts of western Missouri, too. So we do have a little bit of rain here for today, and it's already with us here earlier in the morning. It's going to continue here for the afternoon. A big, robust weekend storm system that was into the Californian coastline just a day or so ago. It's starting to work its way into the Rocky Mountains, and there's plenty of energy working through the jet stream at this time. Temperatures outside really haven't warmed a whole lot. We're right now only in the 40s in a lot of spots. It's 46 right now in Columbia and in Jefferson City, already starting to warm into the 50s down to our south and west, where some of that warmer air is at. The allergy report does get a little better because of the amount of rain that we're going to get. Medium to low levels here for the weekend. That just comes with a lot of rain in this forecast here, really from now through about Wednesday of next week. Your afternoon planner does have a lot of rain, about a 40 to 50% chance this afternoon and this evening. Temperatures will at least hold in the 50s here for the rest of this afternoon. Coming up, your weekend forecast and some thunderstorms are in the forecast for next week. I'll be talking about that here in a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Tim. Attorney General Josh Hawley's office is giving an update on the investigation into the governor's charity today. Governor Greitens said up the mission continues to help other military veterans. The organization faces allegations of possibly violating state not-for-profit laws. KOMU 8 News has a reporter at the press conference that's there, and we will have more on what was said on KOMU 8 News First at 5 o'clock. Well, people are leaving St. Louis. The Census Bureau says more than 4,500 people moved on between 2016 and 2017, just as one company moves in. New census numbers show the St. Louis population dropped by 1.4%. Some point to crumbling neighborhoods and infrastructure. Others blame crime and social issues, but there is part of the city that's not following the trend, the Cortex innovation community in the Central West End. CEO Dennis Lauer says tech jobs are the wave of St. Louis's future, and those at Cortex are bringing in young professionals and spurring growth. And Cortex itself is growing. It will be the new home to Microsoft's regional headquarters. An MU medical student might soon work at a hospital near you. The Rural Tracker program will place medical students at small-town hospitals. The goal is to keep those students in small-town Missouri following graduation. A Sedalia doctor says that's difficult because of the lure of the big city.
We believe that that provides a significant leg up for being able to retain those people, and 6 and 7 and 8 years down the road have new practitioners join our community and provide care for our citizens.
MU plans to partner with Bothwell Regional Health Center, Hannibal Regional Healthcare, and Lake Regional in Osage Beach. Taking a live look over a rainy Columbia Regional Airport. It's 12:11. We'll be right back after this.
Track storms wherever you are. Download the free KOMU 8 Weather and Traffic app. Brought to you by University Subaru. Breaking news. Severe weather. Moments that unite us.